What's up, everyone? This video we're looking at the LOL and KBO picks for Wednesday morning. Wanted to get both videos just combined into one long video, so let's get right into it. Before we get started, I appreciate it if you would hit the like on the video and subscribe if you have not already. Yesterday was good on the LOL side. We cashed on both formats on both sites. Missed on the KBO side, so hopefully tonight we can get both into the money. So let's get started here. You can follow on Twitter at the DFS Process for updates throughout the day. And starting off with the LOL side, we'll start with Draftkings on both, and then we'll move on over to FanDuel. At Draftkings, we have another two-game LOL slate. It will be that way until Friday, when the LCK joins the fun. At Captain, first I'll start out with the teams I'm looking at to target. JD Gaming is my favorite stack on the night. They are facing Suning. Suning has looked pretty well so far this year, but JD Gaming, last year's winners, I think they're just gonna overpower SN. Last year when they faced SN, JD Gaming was pretty good against them. They had a 2-1 victory, and I think that they will once again be victorious tonight. So they are definitely the top stack for me. And then I think you can kind of go with an upset maybe with the next game. You have two very similar teams, RNG and Vici Gaming. For the RNG side, Crying, who came over from eStar, is still not making his debut tonight. They released the starters just a little bit ago. Well, on Twitter, Kenzie tweeted out the starters, and Crying is not in the starting lineup for RNG tonight again. So maybe if he was in there, it'll be a little bit tougher for VG Gaming, but both teams are pretty similar. And we'll see last time these two teams faced in the spring split, VG Gaming had a 2-0 win. So I think VG Gaming can kind of pull off the upset here. I think that people might go with RNG. Both teams have looked pretty solid in their first game so far this summer split. But personally, I think JD Gaming and VG Gaming is a nice way to go tonight, especially with a lot of people just stacking the favorites. It's a little bit tough, especially in tournaments, to kind of differentiate on these two-game slates. But, going with the favorite and going with a little bit of an underdog pick, you can leave some money on the table because that's how LOL works. You just focus on the teams that you like and don't worry about how much salary you have left over. But at Star Captain, it's going to be Loken. I think he's going to score probably the most points on the slate today. He definitely has the ability to do that. He's just a great player. ADC for JDG should be able to put up a lot of points, and SN is a team that does get killed a lot. So I could see Loken coming out and putting up a very, very nice game. At top, you have Zoom, who's one of the best tops in the world, especially at just 6,400. He sticks out. He stands out a ton from the other players on DraftKings, I would say. I think he has the ability to put up like 90 to 100 points at top, which is very rare for this position. Just has that much upside just because he's that involved with the kills. But definitely love Zoom. At jungler, I think Kanave looks good. You have Kanave looks good. You have Aches at 5,800, also looks fine. At mid, Crying is not making his debut. You have Zhao Hu at 7,600. But personally, I'd say that Yago is just too cheap. 7,400. He should be the most expensive guy at mid. I'm not sure why he is not. And then support, you have Liv Mao at 5,800. Looks very solid. You have Hang at 5,200. Looks good as well. ADC, I like iBoy, who's the cheapest at ADC 7,000. Leaves you with 5,800 left. You still have plenty of salary as the team support and jungler positions are not all that expensive. So that's what I'm looking at for DraftKings for the LOL side tonight. And then moving on over to the KBO side for DraftKings today. I do not have it pulled up yet, but it's a pretty simple slate, I would say, for for KBO tonight. So you have two stacks that jump off the page right off the bat. You have KIW facing Bike here, who has been awful. At 5,700, has a 10 plus ERA in 3 starts. Samsung Lions also have a pretty poor bullpen, like a lot of these teams. So it's going to be a spot where I think the Heroes come out and put up a huge amount of points, a huge amount of runs. Bike has already given up 6 bombs in just 14 innings of work this year. So definitely looking at the Heroes stack, they have a lot of good hitters, a lot of power hitters. And then the Kia side against Min Kim. Kim at 5,500 has also been awful. this year. Just 14 strikeouts in 26 innings, giving up 4 home runs as well. It's giving up more walks than strikeouts, which is never good. So Kia side also jumps off the page. Those are the top 2 stacks for me. And I think those are the 2 that I'm going to be trying to just force in. I don't see another one really contesting them. DOO has a tough matchup. Maybe the Dinos look fine against Alcantara, but they're definitely going to be third for me. The pitchers that I'm looking to target is Eric Jokic against the Samsung Lions. He's going to be a huge favorite facing off against the worst pitcher on the slate. Should get the win. Should get a lot of run support. And he's just been pitching lights out this year. 1.49 ERA. The strikeouts have been there. He gets a ton of ground balls, as you see. So very rarely will give up a lot of power and home runs. He has not given up a home run yet. As a lot of he's either like striking guys out or getting ground balls pretty much. And then to get some savings to pay up for the expensive bats, I think Min Ho Lee looks good at 5,800. He started off the year coming out of the bullpen. The last 2 times he was a starter. He's very young, but he has a ton of upside, as you see. 21 fantasy points, 17. The 21 fantasy points came when he threw 100 pitches, so that's good to see that he can get up to 100 pitches. And this year so far, he's been a little bit concerning with the walks, with 6 walks, but and not great strikeout stuff, but at 5,800, I think he can pay off the salary. He doesn't give up a ton of hits so far, and it's not a terrible matchup against SK. They have 2 good hitters, pretty much, and if he can get around those, I think he'll be fine. Definitely wanted to get some savings at the second pitcher because I definitely want to pay up for some expensive hitters, especially on the Heroes and on the Kia side. And then maybe I guess I'll consider the Dino stack, but they're not on the top of the list for me. So starting off here at like first base, you have Park at 5,000, who's gotten off to a pretty rough start. He just strikes out a ton. He strikes out quite a bit, and he has not been hitting for average. It's definitely a spot that I don't think he will strike out a ton against a very bad pitcher. It's a lefty-righty matchup. He has a ton of power. I think he can have a very good game today. Maybe some people will be scared off of him just by how poorly he's played, and if they just look at the game logs. But I think it's going to be a spot where he can get back on track. And at 5,000, he's expensive, but the Heroes are the top stack of the slate, so can definitely make that work. Next up, at shortstop, I like Ha-Seong Kim, who has like one of the best hitters on the team for the Heroes. Plenty of upside, batting second in the lineup. He gives you that power speed combination. He also has the ability to just break the slate. He's shown that multiple times this year with 30 fantasy points, high 20s in a couple games. So Ha-Seong Kim and Park both give you a ton of power, especially against a pitcher who's given up already like a ton of home runs. They are pretty good candidates to maybe hit one out tonight. In the outfield on the Kia side, we have Jiwen Na at 3,800, looks fine. And you have Kim, who I think I like him a lot if he's in the lineup. He's been batting leadoff when he was in there the last couple of games. He was out of the lineup with a thumb injury, but they said it's not serious. So if he's in the lineup again, I think you can definitely consider him. He's been that good. But I think Jiwen Na at his price point looks fine at 3,800. He gives you that power upside. Last year, missed some games due to injury. Didn't hit for a lot of power average, but the years before that, he hit well over 20 home runs. So I think he looks like a very nice option. And then I'd say at like second base, you could look at Seo if you want. From the Heroes, the Kia side, there's not a ton of great hitters on the team. You could look at third base, maybe like Hang if you want, but I like those 3. And then assuming at second base, probably just go with Seo at 3,800. Just best leadoff. He also has some speed. Also has shown power this year, which is pretty rare. It is a lefty-righty. It's a lefty-lefty matchup, but the Samsung pitcher is so bad, I don't think he'll stay out there very long. So I think Chang Seo at sub 4,000 gives you a nice price point to target, and definitely has that upside. Those are the DraftKings picks, and then we'll quickly go on to FanDuel for tonight. For LOL, they are definitely doing some weird things at team. They have JD Gaming as the third most expensive team. They have the 2 teams facing off against each other as a first and second, which makes no sense. But He definitely JD Gaming is looking like the team I still want to target the most at that and BG Gaming. So we're getting JD Gaming at great prices on FanDuel for whatever reason. At Star, I think Loken is still going to be the guy that I want at 9,500. At top, you have Zoom at 81, looks fine. You have Cube at 85. FanDuel, you need players from 3 teams, so usually I like to go different at top, or usually top or jungler. Then you have New. Could be a nice cheap savings if you need it at 7,800. At mid, it's not crying. Wish it was. But you have Forge and Yago at 8,500. Yago is too cheap. 8,500. Him and Loken make for a great stack. They complement each other pretty well. At jungler, you have XLB. You could look there, or Aches. Even Kanave, just 8,200. I don't know why JD Gaming is so cheap over on FanDuel. At ADC, I like iBoy, 9,800. You're going to have the ability to pay up, just given how cheap JD Gaming is. So those players look very, very well, look very good. And then team-wise, just play JD Gaming. They're 7,300, makes no sense. So definitely love all 4 of these players on FanDuel to start a lineup with. And then for KBO on FanDuel, you have Kim pitcher, $29, pretty expensive. If you can make that work, it's definitely looking appealing. If not, I think you could look at like the $5,800 pitcher I mentioned facing off against SK at $23 gives you the ability to pay up for more bats if you want to do that. So either way, I'm looking at the Kim pitcher or the LG pitcher over on FanDuel. And then for stacks, it's the same type 2 stacks that I'm really looking at. FanDuel, it's nice because the prices are pretty affordable on the hero side, especially. At infield, you have Dongwon Park at just $10. You have Bung Ho Park at just $12. You have Ha-Seong Kim at 15, the most expensive hitter on the team. So I'll start with like Ha-Seong Kim at $15. It has the most upside, or at least has like the first or second most upside on the team. From the offensive perspective, with the speed and power that he possesses, it's a very, very good matchup for him. So looking at Ha-Seong Kim a ton today. Next up, I think you could look at like Chang Seo if you want at $11, or Park at $10. In the outfield, from the Kia side, I like Preston Tucker. You have Choi at just $11. That looks very, very appealing. He's a great hitter at just $11. Doesn't make a ton of sense for him to be that cheap, but it looks like another guy that I want to target from the Kia stack. And then I'd say that Park, I think he can hit one out today at $12. From the hero side, he looks very good as well with the power that he possesses. He's been struggling so far this year, but it's a great spot for him to get back on track. The righty-lefty matchup also just makes it even better. So that's what I'm looking at over on FanDuel for KBO. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you guys did enjoy, appreciate it if you would hit the like on the video before you head out. And good luck tonight.